What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy David. We're back with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to the AI takeover has completely backfired, and I couldn't be happier. With the more recent news about AI, with the bubble basically popping because you know what I'm saying. AI is not living up to the promise of what it was supposed to be. How do I feel? I mean, I'm low key. I'm numb to it, but I don't really care, honestly, gang. I don't have any real investments in AI at all, so this doesn't really quite move the needle for me. But with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe, which I can 1,000 subscribers. Let's get straight to it.
First, they lied about improved productivity, cost reduction, and a transformative consumer experience.
Cheaper, faster, more accurate. I found
And that's the part that's what I was just saying with the intro, bro. They literally lied about that shit, bro. They changed what it could be. They went from, oh, it's cheaper, faster, more reliable, and then they brought that standard back down to it can do tasks with supervision. It can do very specific tasks with supervision, and it can barely do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we're at the end of the AI the AI, like, what's the word called? The AI bubble. Like, it's practically over, buddy. Like, okay. The fuck?
it's a real productivity increase. Likewise for coders, where you're seeing 40-50% productivity improvement, which means you can get programs sooner, you can make them higher quality, make them better. So mostly what we'll see is that the productivity of white collar will go up.
That is recognized that AI can absolutely transform and can really truly make care cheaper, better, and faster.
Within 5 years, 80% of interactions between consumers and companies will be solved by AI.
In 2023,
them niggas was lying through their teeth, man. Shit crazy as fuck.
artificial intelligence was marketed as the one-stop solution to all of a business's problems. Executives rushed to jump on the bandwagon.
Due to the implications of AI, since September, October, we have stopped recruitment. And in our case, with normal attrition rates that most tech companies have, where people stay about 5 years, this means that we are actually shrinking in number of employees by about 20% per year.
AI is doing 30 to 50% of the work?
It's doing 30 to 50% of the work at Salesforce now. And I think that will, continue. I think that all of us have to get our head around this idea that AI can do things that before, we were doing, and we can move on to do higher value work. And I do think, to your point,
basically just cut the bottom end employee and just fucking screw them over. Just screw over a huge part of the job market while everybody at the top gets to benefit more, shit like that, anything to make the company more money, you know what I'm saying?
CEOs have to make sure their values are in the right place and that values bring value.
Could an agent replace you one day?
I hope so.
You hope?
You want a fucking robot to take your job, nigga? So you don't want to have a job? You want to be jobless in this economy? Yeah, I'm so tired. I'm tired of these niggas, bro. They're fucking insane.
So.
I mean, of course, I'm partially kidding. You know that. But we're becoming more automated.
They announced about 97,000 layoffs last month. That is a 16% increase from April. And as you mentioned, this is the highest May total since 2020.
Customer support teams were replaced with chatbots. Coders and developers were swapped for AI. Even entire departments were own-sized in the race to become AI first. But 3 years later, has that promise actually been delivered?
But the top AI companies are now changing their tune on mass layoffs as public perception of artificial.
They're starting to hire them back and shit, bro. If I got laid off by a company that tried to replace me with a robot and they tried to hire me back, bro, I need fucking bonuses on bonuses on bonuses. Y'all gonna make it up to me, bitch. Y'all gonna make it up for real, nigga. I need a fucking crazy ass bonus to come back to this shit, nigga. I need my standard. They gotta up the standard pay, and I gotta get a bonus package to come back, nigga. Fuck you talking about?
Artificial intelligence turns negative.
Ford has sacked hundreds of its engineers to make room for AI, which it believed would be able to do those folks' jobs for less money. Guess what? It didn't turn out that way.
Change. We've heard about people struggling to find jobs, but according to recruiting firm Robert Half, hiring numbers for some companies are jumping back up. They found that about a third of companies are bringing back workers to help with the workload they thought AI could handle.
Uber and Microsoft are starting to second-guess aggressive AI adoption. That's partly because the cost of using AI can exceed the cost of human employees.
Just 3 years ago, in April 2023,
not only is it exceeding the cost of human employees, it's producing less than a human being. How can you cost more and produce less? That's a liability. Man, if I was the human beings going back to work for these companies, man, y'all gotta goddamn make these niggas feel you, bro. You gotta tax these niggas for real, gang. No doubt.
economists at Goldman Sachs estimated that generative AI could eventually raise global GDP by 7%, which is roughly $7 trillion, largely through labor cost savings. A month later, McKinsey estimated generative AI could add $2.6 to $4.4 trillion annually to the global economy. The report singled out customer service as one of the fastest wins. Generative AI, it said, could reduce the need for human-handled customer contacts by up to 50% in banking, telecom, and utilities, and increase productivity worth 30 to 45% of that function's total cost. Two of the most trusted names in finance had just placed a number on the immense gains that could be made by integrating AI into every layer of business. Expectedly, most companies restructured their strategies around these numbers. In February 2024, the Swedish fintech company Klarna announced that its AI agent was conducting around 2.3 million conversations per month, which was equivalent to the work done by 700 human employees. As a result, the company had pocketed around $40 million in projected savings. On paper, that math looked perfect, but in reality, it would only take 18 months to completely fall apart. By 2025, Klarna's CEO, who had regarded himself as Sam Altman's favorite guinea pig, who froze hiring human workers for over a year, was publicly explaining how the company had gone too far in its push towards AI-only support and sacrificed service quality and customer trust in the process. But Klarna is just one of the many names who jumped into the AI race way too far.
I didn't even know Klarna was jumping into the AI race, bro. It's crazy, gang. Like, just putting a face to the dumbasses who decided that AIs were gonna do the jobs of human beings. It's fucking incredible, bro. It's insane.
And ended up paying.
I feel like it's so easy to be a CEO. You can make these big dumbass mistakes, and niggas will just act like it's okay. We all make mistakes. We're all human beings, you know, shit like that.
Double the price. In 2023, IBM rolled out an AI tool called Ask HR to automate its human resources department. By 2024, it was handling over 11.5 million internal interactions a year, as well as boosted customer satisfaction from a score of 35 to 74. CEO Arvind Krishna later confirmed that the company had used AI to replace the work of several hundred human resources employees. But while 94% is the number IBM was quoting everywhere, the remaining 6% is where the problems were multiplying. Because these 6% were queries requiring human empathy and understanding, but with AI in charge, that role was erased completely until it realized human oversight and empathy couldn't be replaced and ended up hiring more human employees than it has let go of. However, HR wasn't the only department where IBM bet early on AI replacing people. On October 27th, 2021, IBM and McDonald's announced a partnership to build automated order-taking technology, a voice AI drive-through system, which would eventually go live in over...
Yeah, I would fucking hate that shit, bro. I couldn't imagine going through a drive-through and a motherfucking robot was taking my order, bro. And, bro, if that robot fucks my shit up, I'ma hack into the mainframe and fucking kill it from the inside, gang. You ain't finna fuck up my shit. I don't even eat at McDonald's, nigga. But if I went to that motherfucker and I said I want a motherfucking quarter pounder with jalapenos and motherfucking, what else? And fucking mac sauce, and instead I get extra fucking ketchup and pickles, I'ma blow that shit up, bro. I'ma blow it the fuck up. You ain't finna play with my fucking food like that. I don't even fuck with McDonald's like that. But you not finna play with my food, nigga. Crazy man.
100 US restaurants for nearly 3 years. It sounded like the future of drive-thrus.
Shit, it sound good. Till that shit fuck your food up. You know what I'm saying?
Until people actually started using it. Soon, TikTok was flooded with videos of AI ordering 260 chicken nuggets for one customer. adding bacon to McFlurry.
You added
Adding bacon to a McFlurry? Could you imagine being Muslim? You wanted to go get some ice cream. You wanted a McFlurry. And the motherfucking robot puts fucking swine in your ice cream. Stuff for law. Like, yo.
bacon to my ice cream. I don't want bacon.
And repeatedly asking the same question.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. What can I get for you? Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. What can I get for you?
Do you have...
Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. What can I get for you?
Eventually, in July 2024, McDonald's ended the partnership and pulled the technology from every location testing it. So if the technology worked well enough to make headlines in 2023, what actually went wrong by 2025? The answer isn't in the model, it's in what it costs to keep it running. IBM's own Institute for Business Value found that average enterprise computing costs were projected to climb 89% between 2023 and 2025, with executives naming AI workloads as the primary driver. In that same study, every single executive interviewed had already cancelled or postponed an AI project because of cost. But while customers and analysts noticed the glitches, the company's internal financial reports were about to reveal an even bigger problem. Every company we mentioned so far had one thing in common. They were promised a number. They committed all their resources towards chasing it, then paid more to walk it back. Now, if you stretch that same mistake to the size of an industry, you will get what analysts are calling the enterprise spending problem.
Big tech is scrapped.
Like, everybody wants to jump on a train so fucking hard and so fucking fast, and then when that train derails and crashes, like, it just, what do, bro? You just lost all your fucking money. There's something you gotta just relax and play the field a little bit. I'm not even saying don't invest in AI. I'm not even saying, if I was a CEO of a company, I'm not even saying don't invest in AI. I don't think AI, it cannot be used to increase the value of the company. But at some point, we have to think to ourselves, relax. We don't know what this can do yet. There's not enough research in this. I'm not going to put trillions of dollars, or in the sense of a company, billions of dollars into something that I don't know the exact, you know what I'm saying, the exact return of. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we'll put some money into it. I would look forward to seeing where it can go, but it's not going to be replacing my fucking employees. Like, do I look stupid, nigga? Do I look like some random ass white CEO? No, nigga. What the hell? Nah. If I was a CEO, I would not have no fucking robot replace my... And I wouldn't have an untested robot replace my employees. What kind of shit is that, bro? That's stupid.
Scrambling to slow down its use of AI. Major companies have already exhausted their annual budgets, and some say it's getting more difficult to justify the...
Big tech now pouring more capital than ever into AI. Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon expected to spend a combined $600 billion in CapEx. That's this year alone.
But to understand why companies keep running into that problem, let's look at the fundamental system the AI industry is built on. Unlike other softwares, AI technology can't be advanced simply by increasing your engineering team or writing a cleaner code. For any improvement in an AI model, the computing power it uses has to be double or sometimes even tripled to make a difference. And that computing power continues to grow expensive with each update.
It is so unprecedented how much compute is being consumed.
Mind you, China is making AIs that are on the same level as American AIs with less computing power. With less chips and less shit. So it's like we're spending all this fucking money for a product that our competitors overseas are spending less money on, that's giving them, like us, the same result. We're just wasting money, y'all. We're burning cash. And then calling our workers lazy and slow. Like, what the fuck?
Right now, you just have to only look at how much, how much power is needed, how many data centers are being built. There is the AI labs are consuming gobs and gobs of compute right now.
In fact, according to Epoch AI, the cost to train a frontier model has grown 2.4 times every year since 2016. GPT-4 alone costs somewhere around $79 million to train. And
$79 million to get basic ass questions wrong? Yo, hang the whole team, bro. Firing squad, all of them. This is insane. $79 million for something for that fucking robot bitch to get every fucking question I ask her wrong? Hang that shit, bro. Shit is ridiculous, man.
The models arriving now cost several $100 million. By 2027, researchers expect the biggest training runs to cross $1 billion just for one model, one time before a single customer has used it. But even that number doesn't buy you a finished product. Instead, it hands you a model that's already halfway to obsolete. When a car company designs a new model, they sell it for years. But with AI, the rules are different. Once an AI lab trains a model, it waits a few months until a competitor emerges with a faster and more updated model. At this point, the lab begins the entire cycle of training again, only that it has to pay a higher price than last time. In simple words, to stay competitive in the AI industry,
You gotta still. It's like you already spent millions of dollars. Now you have to spend you have to spend that and more again to stay in front. Like, god damn, that's some capitalistic ass nightmare shit. What the fuck?
businesses don't only have to pay once, but keep paying in a loop that gets more expensive each time. And no company demonstrates that loop better than the one that started the AI race at first, OpenAI. In 2026, OpenAI's own internal projections show the company on pace to lose around $14 billion for the year, while on revenue of roughly $25 billion. In simple words, for every dollar OpenAI brings in, it spends close to $1.69. And that number will only continue to grow worse in the coming years. According to internal projections, the company will run close to $115 billion in
And where the fuck are they getting this money from, bro? Like, if you're spending more than you're making, how the fuck, where are y'all getting that money from? Who's bailing y'all out? The government? What the fuck is going on, bro?
cumulative losses between now and 2029, which is more than 3 times what Uber burned through before it finally turned a profit. And although OpenAI continues raising billions in funding, much of that money doesn't actually solve its cash problem. A large share of what gets reported as Microsoft's investment in OpenAI doesn't even arrive as cash. Instead, it comes in the form of Azure Cloud credits. OpenAI can count them as funding, but those credits can only be spent back on Microsoft's own servers. The money never really leaves the ecosystem. Meanwhile, OpenAI still has to find real cash every quarter to pay salaries, rent, lawyers, and everything cloud credits can't cover, which means the company has only one long-term solution: generate more cash from the people already using its products. But that increase in adoption might just be doing more harm than good. In early 2026, Meta employees started an internal game. They built a leaderboard called Claudionomics that tracked how many AI tokens each employee burned through every month across coding assistants, chat tools, and AI agents. The rules were simple: the higher your token usage, the higher your rank. Employees even coined a name for the competition: token maxing. Top performers were burning through hundreds of millions of tokens each month, earning titles like Token Legend. What they didn't know was what had started as a fun way to encourage AI adoption would soon turn into one of Meta's biggest financial nightmare. Across just one 30-day stretch in early 2026, Meta employees collectively burned between 60 and 74 trillion tokens. At industry
How much is that? That's like what? What that shit say? $221 million a month? What the fuck? God damn! On what? Like this is. That's why I wasn't talking for a couple seconds. I was just trying to figure out what the fuck are they doing? How'd that work? Like what the hell?
Pricing. Analysts estimated the bill at close to $900 million for a single month inside one.
Oh my god! They spent $1 billion in a month. What the fuck?
One company simply from employees using AI tools to help with their everyday work. Meta's own CTO, Andrew Bosworth, acknowledged the problem in an internal memo, writing that all motion is not progress and that token usage alone wasn't a meaningful measure of impact. By June, the Claudionomics leaderboard had disappeared. In its place came spending caps for employees and a new internal dashboard designed for one purpose: tracking exactly where AI spending was going. But while Meta discovered the problem early, other companies would learn it the expensive way. One of the clearest examples came from Microsoft, a company that had invested billions into the AI race, while simultaneously discovering just how costly using the best AI models could become. In December 2025, Microsoft rolled out Claude Code to thousands of engineers working on their products. The experiment was straightforward. Let engineers use Claude Code alongside Microsoft's own GitHub Copilot and see which tool they naturally preferred. Claude Code won, and that's where where the problem began. Within months, adoption climbed to somewhere between 84 and 95%. Engineers repeatedly chose Claude over Microsoft's own assistant because, by multiple internal accounts, it simply performed better. On independent coding benchmarks, Claude consistently ranked among the strongest models for handling large, complex engineering tasks. Normally, building a better product is exactly what companies want, but Claude wasn't sold like traditional software. Instead of paying one subscription fee, Microsoft paid based on token usage. Every prompt, every code generation.
So every prompt and every code generation just like kept adding to the fucking bill, bro. So the shit, it wasn't just, oh, we'll pay 50 million. No, you're paying for each one. So that 50 mil will quickly turn to 100. That 100 will quickly turn to 200 mil. That 20 mil will quickly turn to a billion. Like, you know, because human beings are lazy. You know what I'm saying? So if they're given a fucking AI tool where, oh, you just gotta put in the shit, you gotta put that shit in, you get tokens, just spend the tokens and do your job better, you know what I'm saying? It's less work on you and more work on a robot. You know, they gonna motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, put that work on a robot. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, shit.
Conversation added to the bill. The more valuable the assistant became, the more engineers used it, and the more expensive it became to keep running. Per engineer costs reportedly climbed to somewhere between $500 and $2,000 every month. An AI tooling budget that had been expected to last an entire fiscal year disappeared in just a matter of months.
Damn.
In May 2026, Microsoft made the tough decision to cancel every Claude subscription and move back to its own flat-rate coding assistant.
Microsoft canceling the code subscriptions for its developers because it doesn't want to hand over a lot of cash to its competitor.
Publicly, Microsoft's executive vice president Rajesh Jha described the rollout as a successful learning exercise. But people familiar with the decision painted a different picture.
Nigga, they had a better product and y'all just didn't want to give that shit up. I understand, bro. I understand, man. But damn it, they cooking y'all. They cooked y'all.
Engineers back onto Microsoft's own tools, reduced unpredictable token spending while keeping engineering workflows, customer data, and cloud revenue inside Microsoft's ecosystem. And Microsoft wasn't the only company reaching the same conclusion. Around the same time, Uber rolled out Claude Code to roughly 5,000 engineers. Adoption quickly climbed above 84%, and within just 4 months, the company had reportedly exhausted its entire annual AI coding budget.
I mean, but that's just because, you know, Uber is barely profitable even now. Like, even though it's more afloat now, like Uber don't got that kind of fucking money. They don't got the kind of money to just goddamn, you know what I'm saying, do all that. So of course their fucking shit's gonna, if Microsoft ran out of funds in like what for that cloud subscription in like a couple fucking months, Uber was gonna run out in three or four, as the shit says. Like, come on now, bro.
But regardless of the company, the mistake was common. They had budgeted for AI as though it behaved like traditional software with predictable licensing costs. Instead, they found themselves paying something much closer to a utility bill, one that grew every time employees became more productive.
A few weeks ago, Uber's chief technology officer went in front of investors and admitted the company had set its entire 2026 AI budget on fire, all of it gone in 4 months.
And if the biggest technology companies in the world couldn't accurately predict what their own AI tools would cost from 1 month to the next, what chance did everyone else have? Because once companies started questioning the economics of AI, they inevitably started questioning something else: the scale of infrastructure being built to support it. Between the targeted ads, data leaks, and new laws requiring more personal information online, privacy is becoming harder to ends. Design privacy is incredibly easy to obscure a personal QR code has reported. But by 21 assumption. For nearly 3 years, the AI industry has operated under one assumption: demand would grow faster than the infrastructure needed to support it.
But that's not what the fuck happened. The demand did not grow as fast. The demand did not grow enough to validate spending $7 trillion. Did it? It did not. At all.
By 2026, that assumption is beginning to fall apart.
Half of U.S. data centers planned for 2026 are expected to be delayed or canceled.
Breaking news on the Bloomberg terminal: Oracle and OpenAI are apparently ending plans to expand that Texas data center site.
They are having some delay in getting the data centers online. And as we know, if the data centers don't come online, the servers are not lit up, you really cannot transform that big backlog into sales. And I think that has been a big concern for everybody.
Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft are expected to spend more than $650 billion on AI infrastructure in 2026 alone, which would account to a 60% increase from the previous year. Yet despite all that spending, the industry has run into a problem money can't solve. Before a single server can be switched on, companies need an enormous amount of electrical infrastructure to power it. That means securing high voltage transformers, switchgear, and grid connections, equipment that's already in short supply because every major tech company is trying to build at once. High voltage transformers now take 3 to 5 years to manufacture, while critical electrical equipment like switchgear has been sold out till 2028, which means companies have the money to build the...
They got the money to build, but there's not enough actual like physical like resources to buy that you could buy. Wow, that's fucking bad. Damn, they're sold out till 2028. That's crazy. That don't even sound right. What the hell?
These data centers, they just don't have the equipment to power them. That's why, of the 12 to 16 gigawatts of new US data center capacity planned for 2026, only around 5 gigawatts is actually under construction. Because unlike capital, infrastructure can't simply be scaled overnight. But instead of scaling back on expansion, companies decided to go down a riskier route. And this number is expected to cross $500 billion by the end of 2026.
Dude, these numbers don't even seem real, bro. We haven't even touched like this whole video hasn't even said anything about a million or millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars. The only figure that we're hitting in this video is in the billions to trillions of dollars. This is crazy. That's so much fucking money, bro. Like what the fuck? Like, damn.
In just the first 5 months of the year, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, and Oracle issued $159 billion in corporate bonds, more than they had borrowed over the previous 5 years combined. But borrowing didn't solve the delay, it only made the process more expensive. And that brings us to the second biggest AI infrastructure problem, or what analysts like to call the GPU debt treadmill. Typically, AI data centers are financed over 20 to 30 years, but the GPUs inside them become outdated in as little as 5 to 7. In other words, the hardware generating today's revenue could become obsolete long before the loans used to finance it are paid off. And that traps businesses in a vicious loop where companies borrow money to buy new GPUs.
NVIDIA signed a deal for a $500 billion financial project with 6 financial institutions aimed at essentially allowing its customers to access scarce capital at large scale and build AI data centers that will help power Anthropic's Claude and OpenAI's ChatGPT.
Those new GPUs replace older ones, then they borrow again to replace the next generation. But the cycle only works as long as AI demand keeps growing fast enough to justify the next investment. But what if that growth...
And what if that growth just stops? I was just going to say, what if that shit just fucking stops? Like the demand is not going to be infinite. Like the demand is already pretty fucking bad right now. Like it's not going to be infinite. So what if that just fucking stops? What then? Like what then happens? Do they stay with the same old GPUs or do they keep buying new GPUs? Like what's the point here? What happens here? Do they start to close down the data centers? Like I'm like what happens?
Lows. Because unlike office buildings or warehouses, AI data centers are built for one purpose, which means if the demand weakens, these facilities can't easily be repurposed. They risk becoming buildings worth significantly less than the debt raised to construct them. Which brings us back to the same question this entire video has been asking. Was the demand ever large enough to justify the reckless decisions made around it? According to MIT's Project Nanda, 95% of enterprise generative AI pilots still hadn't produced measurable financial returns because delays and cancelled projects aren't simply about transformers, power grids, or supply chains. They are also a telling sign that companies are beginning to ask a much harder question. Is AI actually delivering the returns it promised? Because if the answer were an obvious yes, companies wouldn't be freezing projects. They wouldn't be cutting...
They wouldn't be freezing projects, cutting funding, or fucking cutting the amount of tokens that people could use and shit like that. They'll be like, oh, keep using. They'll keep bankrolling this shit. But they're starting to ask themselves, is this worth it? is demand high enough to validate the amount we're spending? Is this really something that we could continue to keep spending on like this in this capacity? And the answer right now is no, nigga. Nah. This shit bad, bro. Like, this shit not only is the product terrible, like, it doesn't work how it's supposed to work sometimes. And not only is the product is not only bad, the demand is also bad. So it's like we're down. We're going, the arrows are pointing downwards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shit crazy.
Budgets, and they certainly wouldn't be reversing some of the very decisions they made at the height of the AI boom. When AI took off in 2023, no profession seemed more at risk than software developers. Large language models could write code, debug programs, and build simple applications in seconds. Within days, a new belief spread through Silicon Valley. If AI could already code, then surely software engineers, especially junior developers, would soon become optional.
I think coding is going away first, or coding is being, done by the AI models first.
As usual, companies didn't wait to see if that prediction would actually come true. Google was one of the companies that moved first. In January 2023, Alphabet laid off 12,000 employees, the largest workforce reduction in its history. And just a year later, CEO Sundar Pichai warned employees that more cuts were coming as Google removed organizational layers to free up resources for its biggest priority, artificial intelligence. That same month, the company launched Gemini, expanded its AI ecosystem, and even grew its investment in Anthropic. On paper, it looked like exactly the kind of trade-off investors wanted to see, but in reality, it would become one of the worst business decisions Google ever made. Because replacing software engineers assumed AI could do more than generate code, they assumed AI could engineer entire softwares. But it won't be too long before they are proven wrong. A 2025 study by Meta followed experienced open source developers using AI coding assistants on real production tasks. Rather than making them faster, the researchers found they were 19% slower on average. And this wasn't because AI couldn't produce code, but rather because developers spent so much time reviewing suggestions, correcting subtle mistakes, and integrating AI-generated code into larger systems. In fact, another research found AI-generated code contained 1.7 times more bugs than human-written code.
So then that leaves the question, what the fuck is the point of using AI-generated code if it has more mistakes? Are we paying more money for more mistakes? Is that what we're doing here? This is crazy as fuck, bro. I don't understand this shit, bro. We're paying more money for more mistakes. That's what we're doing. Incredible.
While also increasing the total amount of code companies had to maintain, which means that instead of getting their workload cut in half,
you have to literally babysit the AI, and then also try to integrate the code from that AI into other systems, and then also you have to check the mistakes that the AI also made. Like, it's so much, bro. This is ridiculous, gang.
By AI, many developers simply found themselves reviewing, correcting, testing, and integrating code that the AI had produced. And that's when companies who bet their futures on AI workers began reversing the course. Rather than continuing to shrink engineering teams, many companies began hiring experienced developers again. Gartner projects that by 2027, half of the companies that reduced headcount because of AI will be hiring for many of those same roles once more. Across the industry, an estimated 35 to 40% of engineering hires in 2026 were boomerang employees, people returning to the very companies that had previously laid them off because they already understood systems that AI couldn't. Even Google, one of the companies that invested most aggressively in AI, saw roughly 20% of its AI engineering hires in late 2025 come from former employees returning to the company. And that brings us to one crucial question. If 3 years of layoffs, rehiring, and billions of dollars later, companies are still bringing people back, was AI workers really the future? Or was it just another Silicon?
It was not. It was just another little gamble that, companies wanted to make to reduce their costs while also increasing their productivity. But then again, it just didn't work. But and we're just seeing the bubble start to pop now. But with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. We out.